Before we begin, I want to thank you guys for 69 views on my last video. You can plan and say, I'm gonna be a YouTuber, I'm gonna get tons of views and subscribers, but actually seeing people start to watch your videos and engage with the channel is such a cool thing to watch. So thank you, and let's get on with the video. Are you still watching anime in 4K? So in the last video, I showed you the easy method of how to upscale your anime. Now let's move on to the heavy stuff. From here on, only big, tough, hairy men and women, big, tough, hairy women too, are only allowed beyond this point. Because the next method I'm going to be showing you is going to require you to be somewhat comfortable with terminals and coding. You don't actually have to code, but it will definitely help if you want to have full control. It also requires a pretty beefy PC with a high-end graphics, or a lot of patience. To put it simply, this method is slow and quite a pain in the and will result in only a small quality improvement over anime 4K. But if you're the kind of anime connoisseur who just can't compromise on the quality of their anime no matter the cost, then this is for you. So let's get into it. Method number 2, Real-ESRGAN. So last time while we were setting up Anime 4K, you might have noticed something called Real-ESRGAN. And by far it looks way better than all the other competition. So today I'm gonna show you how to set this one up. But unlike Anime 4K, this is not gonna be nearly as simple, so please follow the steps properly. First off, I want you to head over to my GitHub where I set up a repository that has all the instructions you need. Link in the description down below. So to start, we need to download something called Anaconda. Anaconda is basically what the hell is Anaconda? It's basically a Python terminal environment thing. It basically just allows your Python code to work with your GPU, as far as I understand it. So download this, and let's set it up. Now in the setup, make sure to remember where you installed this because we're gonna come back to this later. Also, make absolutely sure to check this checkbox, which will add Anaconda to your environment variables. Hit install. So now it started installing. It's gonna take a while, so just leave it be and let's move on to the next step. Next, we need to download Real-ESRGAN. So let's click here to go to the official GitHub. Now click on the green code button. Here you can clone the repository from the URL or you can download it just as a zip file. So here I'm going to clone it to my desktop. Or alternatively, you can just download it as a zip file and extract it, and it's the exact same thing. So let's move on. Next, we need to download FFmpeg, and we need to make sure we download the full version. I'm on Windows, so I'm going to download the Windows version. Next, I'm going to find the full version by clicking on this link that says full right here. Download this somewhere on your system. I'm going to create a new folder here, call it FFmpeg. And then I'm going to extract all the contents from this folder inside of here. Close the zip file and delete it. And lastly, I'm going to head inside the bin folder and going to copy this directory. And then I'm going to go to my environment variables. And I'm going to add it to the path. And with that, FFmpeg is now installed. By the time you have finished these steps, Anaconda should realistically have finished installing by now, so hit next on this, hit next, and then uncheck these boxes because we don't want Anaconda to run its things, it's just a waste of time. And hit finish. Now that Anaconda is installed, let's search for it, Anaconda, and we're gonna find something called Anaconda prompt. I'm going to bin this to my taskbar to make it easier to access. So next, let's run this Anaconda prompt. You will see it's just basically a terminal thing for Python. So here we start with the scary part, the coding in terminal. Our first step is going to be to go to the Real-ESRGAN directory and copy the directory path. And then we're going to write cd space and paste that path. And if you have spaces in this path, make sure to put it between quotes, like so. And hit enter. And now you will see it says base and then the directory to Real-ESRGAN. The next step, we're going to create something called an environment. So we're going to copy this line of code go back to the terminal, and paste it in. So basically what this is going to do is going to create an environment named real from Python version 3.11.7. And now it's setting up the environment for you. It will prompt you to install some packages. All you have to do is just press enter. Now that it's done, we have to activate it. So to activate it, we're going to copy this line of code, which basically just tells the terminal to activate this environment. You will now notice it says real over here. That means our environment is currently active. Now let's set up some dependencies. And please be careful because it's really important that you install these dependencies in this specific order. So let's copy this first line and let's put it in our terminal and hit enter. Now this is gonna set up Torchvision. It's gonna take a while, but don't close this terminal or open another one. Do not pass go, do not collect 200, just go to prison and wait. Just go make a cup of coffee and come back. And there you go, it's done. Now that it's done, let's do the same thing for all the following lines in this section. So I'm going to copy this, go back to the terminal, and paste it, and enter. The rest of the dependencies should install way faster than Torchvision, so don't worry. This will only take a minute. And if anything asks you for confirmation, just hit yes by pressing enter. Next, let's do the requirements. Enter. And the last step is to run this setup. Copy this and paste it. With that, all the dependencies we need are now ready. But we have to apply a few small fixes to actually get this working. We need to navigate to where you have Anaconda installed. So for me, I installed it in the default location, so I'm going to go to C, to users, then choose my user, and then I'm going to find Anaconda 3 right here. This is the default installation location. And then after that, we're going to navigate to this path. So I'm going to find the envs folder inside Anaconda, and then I'm going to find real, lib, then site packages. If you can't find the folder, just press the first letter, and it will automatically navigate you to the site packages folder. After that, find basic CSR, and then data. And here we're going to find this file that is called degradations.py. We're going to edit this either with VS Code or just a notepad. Either one works just fine. And here I'm going to find this line, number 8, that says Torchvision transforms functional tensor. And I'm going to change it to just say functional. So I'm going to delete this underscore tensor part. And that's it. Hit Ctrl S to save your file, and then close it. Windows update, you son of a... Oh. This is why I'm seriously considering switching to Linux someday. Okay, so where were we? Okay, so let's continue where we left off. Degradations should now be ready. After that, let's head back to the Anaconda folder. And then we're going to navigate to this directory. So we're going to find BKGs, and then I'm going to find the FFmpeg. It will not say the exact same folder name here, so just search for the folder that says FFmpeg. There should only be one anyway. Next, let's head into library, and then inside of bin, and here we're going to copy the full version of FFmpeg that we downloaded previously. So let's navigate to that folder. Going to open a new file explorer. Go to where you downloaded FFmpeg. For me, I downloaded it inside of this file called FFmpeg. And let's open bin. And here we're going to copy all 3 of these and then go back to the Anaconda folder and paste it here. And make sure to replace the files in the destination. Now you can go ahead and close both of these folders. Now Real-ESRGAN is fully set up and ready to be used, but there's one final step that will make Real-ESRGAN run 5 times faster and make it way easier to use. And that step is to download this repository and extract it in your Real-ESRGAN folder. So just click on code over here and download a zip, go to where you installed Real-ESRGAN and save it over there, open the zip file and extract these files, except the readme, I guess, you don't need that, and extract these files directly inside of your Real-ESRGAN directory. And now I'm going to show you how to use it. So inside your Real-ESRGAN, you will notice there's a folder called Inputs. So if you navigate to this folder, it will already have some test material for you to try. But we really don't care about upscaling images, so I'm going to create a new file called done, and I'm just gonna relocate all these images inside of this folder. And you will notice it has a video folder, so let's open that. You will see a one-piece demo. So to start using it, make sure the media you want to upscale is inside of the inputs folder. So this one-piece demo, I made sure to move it from video and put it over here. After that, let's open a new Anaconda prompt, and then let's navigate into Real-ESRGAN again. cd Real-ESRGAN. And because we closed the last terminal, fuck you Windows 11, we're going to have to activate the environment again. So to do that, just write conda activate and then the name of your environment. And now it should say real again. And now to start upscaling the media inside of your input folder, all you have to write is python func.py. And what this will do is it will go and search directly inside of your inputs folder for any media, and it will start upscaling it. So hit enter on this. So the first time you run it, it will install the MKVToolNix model. After that, you will see this progress bar, which means you have started upscaling your anime. Since this is a virtual machine, it's not working right here, but if you tried it, it should start working for you. So let me switch back to my main machine where I have this set up, and let me show you how this actually works. So here on my main machine, I'm going to do the same steps again. First, I'm going to cd into my Real-ESRGAN directory. But because I'm on a different disk than C, first I'm going to have to load that disk. So I'm going to write A, 2 dots, and that will allow me to work on the A disk. So cd space mypath, then conda activate real. And lastly, python func.py to run the code. And look at that. It has started processing my video. You will notice on the progress bar you have some stats like how many frames there are in the video, how much time has elapsed, and how much time is remaining, and finally how many frames per second are you processing. So with my code it was processing at 35 frames per second. Now let's compare this to the unmodified original code from the repository. But before we do that, let's go back inside our inputs folder. You will notice the video doesn't exist here. It's been moved to the done folder. If this directory doesn't already exist, it will create it for you. So here I'm going to drag it back to the inputs to process it again. And if you're planning to do this multiple times, you can just disable this behavior by adding the argument -dm, which will say, hey, don't move this file. So if I run it again, it will process it one more time. But it will not move it to the done folder if you wish. Now, if you want to use the original code, you have to write something like this. You will notice in the terminal you have this line of code. Basically, my function writes this automatically for you, but if you want to use the original code, then you have to write this yourself. So if you highlight this and then right-click, it will copy it to your clipboard, then paste it in, and you will have this line, and we're going to add some modifications. First off, I'm going to delete the link because that's part of my custom code. Also, I'm going to change this line here to just say video without fast, because fast is the modified code version that you downloaded from my repository, while just video is the original code from the source. So now I'm going to hit enter and just look at this processing speed. We're only rendering at 4 frames per second. The last one was so fast I didn't even have time to commentate before it finished, while this one is taking 40 seconds. My code took 4 seconds to process, while this is taking 40 seconds. Now I'm running OBS to record my screen, so the results are a bit different than from what I usually get, but usually I will render this at around 8 frames a second or around 45 with my custom code. One thing to keep in mind though is that this video is very low resolution, so if I open it in MKV, and hit on the stats, you will see that the resolution is 480p. So the bigger the resolution, the slower this is gonna be. And that's why it's very important to speed up this process if you wanna upscale something, let's say 1080p into 4K. So now I'm going to try the same thing with a 1 minute 30 1080p video. And now we see the real processing speed of 1080p, even with my fast code, is around 6 frames a second. It will fluctuate a little bit between 4 and 8 frames a second for me. It's not really a static number. And sometimes it will spike because I added a code that sometimes skips some frames that you don't really need to render. And there you go. A 1 minute 30 1080p video took around 5.5 minutes with my custom code. Now let's try and run the original code and see how long it's gonna take. So with the original code, it's going to take around apparently 52 minutes to render this 1.5 minute video. So to cancel out of this, I'm just going to hit Ctrl+C a few times until you're back to seeing this prompt. Now that's cool and all, but where the hell is the results? Well, you might have noticed that there's now a results folder inside of Real-ESRGAN. So let's open it, and over here you will find the results for your videos. Now let's compare the results. This is what the original video looks like. And this is Real-ESRGAN. Original, Real-ESRGAN. Original, ESRGAN. Original, Real-ESRGAN. Original, Real-ESRGAN. Now to compare this to the Anime 4K results we got from the last video, to be honest, I don't think it's gonna be very clear on YouTube because YouTube likes to compress 1080p video. But hey, at least I'm gonna try. This is Real-ESRGAN, and this is Anime 4K. Real-ESRGAN, Anime 4K. Real-ESRGAN, Anime 4K. In Anime 4K, these water drops and this line work looks kind of smudgy in comparison. But the real magic is when you use both at the same time. This is Real-ESRGAN. This is Real-ESRGAN with Anime 4K. Just ESRGAN, both. Just ESRGAN, both. Just ESRGAN, both. Like, you can definitely see a huge improvement on the line art whenever I turn Anime 4K on. When you enable both at the same time, the results are genuinely stunning. You're basically upscaling into 8K at this point. But that's not the limit, because Real-ESRGAN can directly upscale into 8K. All you have to do is just pass the argument -s and then specify the number of times you want to multiply the video resolution by. If you don't pass this argument, the default will be set to 2, which usually multiplies your 1080p video by 2, making it 4K. But if we, let's say, pass 4, then it's going to multiply the resolution of your 1080p video by 4, meaning it's going to export 8K video directly. And then after that, you can enable Anime 4K to upscale your video into 16K. And these are not the only options that you have. If you open the snippets file that comes with my repository, you can find the documentation for the arguments that you can use. You can specify a specific input or output file. You can specify the scale, the name of the model. And not just that, you will find a bunch of code snippets that will help you utilize this tool. For example, this code block can make it really easy to run Real-ESRGAN. All you have to do is just replace this with the path to your Real-ESRGAN directory. Also, I need to specify the drive letter, because my directory is on the A drive. And then all I have to do is just copy this code block, open a new terminal, and just paste it in, and immediately it will start processing my video. And that's how you start processing any video instantly. Just make sure to put your media in the inputs file and then run this code. One last thing I want to talk about before I end this video is the subtitles. Now, subtitles are not added by default. This is part of my custom code. And this sometimes works, but more often than not it breaks the subtitles. So if you do want subtitles, I recommend disabling it in the result and just using something like MKVToolNix. So you can use this tool to extract the original subtitles and add them to your 4K video. So that's it for Real-ESRGAN. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It means a lot for a small channel like this. And lastly, have a good day.